Ladies and gentlemen, come forward, because tonight we're stepping into a truth that burns with quiet intensity, a reality that unfolds like a shadow trailing your brightest moments. We're delving into why some choose to compete with you instead of celebrating your victories, why their hearts turn to rivalry when your success should spark joy. You've felt it, haven't you? That moment when your triumph, your hard-won achievement, is met not with cheers, but with a subtle challenge, a silent race you never entered. Stay close, because we're about to unravel this with fire and wisdom. And I assure you, when we leave here, you'll stand taller, see sharper, and carry a resolve that no one's rivalry can dim. Picture this. You're out there forging a path that's uniquely yours, driven by a purpose that sets your spirit alight. You've labored through setbacks, pushed past doubts, and held fast to a vision that others couldn't see. Maybe it's a craft you've perfected through years of grit, a venture you've built from a single spark, a dream you've chased with relentless heart, or a legacy you're shaping with every choice. You're not without stumbles, but you're steadfast. You've earned your wins through sacrifice, your progress through persistence. Along the way, you've had people in your corner, or so you thought. They nodded at your plans, clapped for your early steps, seemed to root for your rise. But then your efforts bloom. Your goals take shape. Your light begins to shine. And instead of lifting a glass to your success, some of those same people shift. Their smiles grow tight, their words carry an edge, and you realize they're not celebrating you. They're competing with you, measuring their worth against your wins. Let's hold this moment, because this is where the suspense begins to simmer. Why do they choose competition over celebration? Why does your victory, your moment of glory, ignite a rivalry they can't suppress? It's not just about your success, it's about what your success stirs within them. Your achievement is a mirror, reflecting their own unclaimed potential, their unspoken fears, their choices to hesitate where you dared to act. When you succeed, you challenge the limits they've accepted. Your triumph, shining as it does, exposes the gaps they've left unfilled, the risks they've avoided, the dreams they've let slip. Instead of joining your joy, they turn inward, seeing your win as a measure of their loss. And that's when the competition begins, not because they want to outshine you, but because they're wrestling with themselves. Let's craft a story to bring this to life. There was a young man, a chef with a gift for flavors that danced on the tongue. He didn't come from a world of opportunity. His roots were in a place where ambition was often stifled by circumstance. But he had a spark, a vision to create dishes that told stories. He cooked in cramped kitchens, experimented with scraps, and shared his recipes with those closest to him. His friends at first were his biggest fans. They'd taste his creations, rave about his talent, telling he was destined for greatness. "You're going to own a restaurant someday," they'd say, and he carried their words like a torch. But then came his breakthrough, a small eatery that became the talk of the town, a menu that drew crowds, a name that started to spread. His success was undeniable, but as it grew, he noticed a change. One friend, someone he'd cooked for countless times, grew distant. Their visits stopped, their praise turned to questions like, "How do you manage all this attention?" Then one evening, the truth slipped out. "You're making it big, but what about the rest of us?" they said, their voice heavy with a challenge they hadn't meant to voice. That was when he saw it, their competition, their refusal to celebrate, was rooted in their own struggle, not his success. Can you feel the weight of that? Because it's not just his story, it's yours. Maybe it's not a kitchen, but it's your arena, your passion, your prize. You've poured yourself into something meaningful, and now it's paying off. But there's someone, or maybe a few, who aren't clapping. They're competing, sizing up your wins as if they diminish their own. It stings, because these are people you trusted, people you thought would share your joy. But I'm here to tell you, don't let their rivalry steal your light. Don't let their competition dull your fire. You were created to excel, to inspire, to live a life that leaves a legacy. And when they choose to compete instead of celebrate, it's not a signal to slow down, it's proof your success is shaking their world. Let's dig deeper, because there's a current in this truth that's electrifying. Their choice to compete isn't just about you, it's about the battle raging within them. Your success is a force, a pressure that exposes their insecurities, their regrets, their unresolved ambitions. When you were still striving, still reaching, they could cheer without confronting their own stagnation. They could support you without questioning their choices. But now, as your victory stands tall, their comfort unravels. Your achievement is a reminder of what they could have pursued, what they might have become, what they've left undone. Instead of celebrating your win, they turn it into a contest, not because they truly want to beat you, but because they're trying to reclaim a sense of worth they feel they've lost. Now, here's where the suspense peaks. When their competition becomes clear, you're at a pivotal moment, a crossroads that tests your soul. You can let it shake you, let their rivalry make you doubt your success, your path, your right to shine. You can try to ease their tension, dim your achievement, pull back to keep them close. Or, and this is the choice I'm urging you to make, you can stand firm, embrace your victory, and let their competition be a sign that you're making waves. That's the drama, the pulse of this moment. Will you shrink to soothe their rivalry, or will you rise, letting your success redefine the story? The world is watching, and so are they. Let's shift the perspective, because there's a nuance here that's gripping. Their competition isn't always overt. Sometimes it's a subtle push, a comment that compares, a question that probes, a silence that speaks louder than applause. They might say, "You're doing so well, how do you keep up?" Or, "I could never do what you're doing." Their words laced with a challenge they don't fully voice. It's quiet, designed to make you second guess yourself, to wonder if your success is creating distance. But you're not creating distance, their competition is. Their rivalry is their struggle, rooted in their inability to celebrate your win without measuring it against their own lives. Your success is simply the spark that ignites their inner conflict, and that's a power you should never apologize for. Let me share another tale to ground this. There was a woman, an educator with a gift for igniting minds. She didn't start with privilege. Her world was one where dreams were often buried under necessity. But she had a vision, a drive to teach in ways that transformed lives. She worked in underfunded schools, stayed late to mentor students, and shared her ideas with colleagues. Her peers at first were her allies. They'd applaud her methods, share her resources, tell her she was changing the game. "You're inspiring," they'd say, and she leaned on their support. But when her efforts gained recognition, when her programs were adopted widely, when her name became synonymous with innovation, things changed. One colleague, someone she'd collaborated with, grew cold. Their encouragement turned to critique, their presence tense. Then, during a staff meeting, their competition surfaced. "You're getting all the credit, but we're all working hard," they said, their voice sharp with rivalry. That was when she understood their choice to compete, their refusal to celebrate, was about their own unresolved battles, not her success. Can you grasp the depth of that? Because it's your reality too. Your success, your breakthrough, your moment of glory, it's stirring a rivalry in someone's heart. It hurts because these are people you thought would lift you up, people you hoped would share your joy. But I'm urging you, don't let their competition define you. Your triumph is your testimony, a force that challenges and inspires. When they choose to compete instead of celebrate, it's not a reason to doubt yourself, it's a call to keep shining, to keep winning, to keep being the person you were born to be. Let's raise the stakes, because this moment is a crucible forging who you'll become. Their competition tests your resolve, your ability to stay true to your path. It can slip into your thoughts, make you wonder if your success is causing division, if your victory is too bold, if you're pushing people away. But here's the truth: you were designed to achieve, to inspire, to transform the world through your purpose. Their rivalry isn't a judgment on your value, it's a reflection of their struggle. And when you see that, you're free to let their competition fuel your focus, to let it sharpen your courage, to let it remind you why your success matters. So how do you navigate this? Let's map it out, because this is where you take charge. First, own your success. Don't hide it, don't downplay it, don't let their competition make you question it. Your triumph is your proof, a testament to your heart and hustle. Stand in it with pride, knowing it's yours by right. Second, stay anchored. Their rivalry can pull you off course, make you chase their approval instead of your purpose. But your success isn't about them, it's about the mission you're living for. Keep your eyes on your vision, not their challenge. Let their competition remind you of your strength, not distract you from your path. Third, keep advancing. The greatest response to their rivalry is relentless progress. Let their competition be your catalyst. Every time you feel their challenge, let it spur you to work smarter, aim higher, live braver. Show them and yourself that their rivalry can't stop your momentum. And finally, extend grace. This is the toughest but the most liberating. When they choose to compete instead of celebrate, it's easy to resent them, to match their rivalry with your own defenses. But you can choose a higher path. Respond with kindness, with strength, with a confidence that doesn't need their validation. Set boundaries, but do it with a heart free of bitterness. Their competition is their burden, not yours. Let me bring this full circle, because we're not just surviving this moment, we're mastering it. When they choose to compete instead of celebrate, it's a sign you're walking in your purpose. It's evidence you're breaking barriers, defying expectations, living a life that demands attention. Yes, it's painful. Yes, it's complex. But it's also a gift. It's a moment that affirms your impact, your resilience, your power to shape the world. So here's my charge to you tonight. The next time they compete instead of celebrate, the next time their rivalry surfaces in the face of your success, don't waver, don't retreat. Stand tall, embrace your triumph, and let it shine. Let their competition be a milestone, a sign you're rewriting what's possible. Let it drive you to be braver, to dream grander, to live truer. Because you were made for greatness, for influence, for a purpose that transforms. And when you do that, something extraordinary happens. You don't just rise above their rivalry, you transcend it. You become a beacon, a flame that lights the way for others to chase their own dreams. You show the world what it means to live with conviction, to triumph with courage, to stand unyielding in the face of competition. And in that moment, their rivalry fades into the background, a mere whisper against the roar of your destiny. So go forth, my friends. Shine fiercely, aspire fearlessly, live mightily. And when they choose to compete instead of celebrate, let it remind you that you're exactly where you're meant to be. The world awaits and your hour is now.